Hello students. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about limitations and deviations to Beer's law. In this lecture, you will be able to understand the various limitations of Beer's law, as well as you will also be able to understand the different deviations to Beer's law and their corrections. Limitations to Beer's law. As we discussed in the earlier class, according to the Beer's law, absorbance is directly proportional to the concentration. So absorbance as well as concentration have a linear relationship. So when we plot absorbance and the concentration by taking concentration on the x-axis and absorbance on the y-axis, so we should get a straight line or a linear relationship. But when this linear relationship is not observed, we say there are some deviations to the linear relationship of Beer's law, and we try to rectify the necessary process or method to make or to correct the deviations. Now the main real limitation of Beer's law is that it is mainly applicable to a very low concentration. So this is to be kept in mind always whenever we are carrying out some UV or visible study and we need to get a linear relationship. We should keep in mind that concentration should be equal to or less than 0.01 molar. So it should not exceed 0.01 mole. Otherwise, Beer's law will not be followed or obeyed. Because at high concentrations, the average distance between the molecules or the ion generally decreases and they come closer. And due to their closer proximity, the solute-solute interactions, solute to solvent interaction, or hydrogen bonding, or some electrostatic interactions may increase that can alter the absorptivity values and hence may cause the deviation from the linear relationship. Additionally, absorptivity also depends upon the refractive index of the medium, and this refractive index is also dependent upon the concentration. So if you change the concentration, refractive index also changes, and that may also lead to some difference or deviation from the linear relationship. So when we are having such type of interactions like solute to solute, solute to solvent, hydrogen bonding, or some electrostatic interaction, these can easily be overcome by diluting the solution. But when the refractive index is causing a issue or problem to our study, so we need to include, we need to done some correction of molar absorptivity value, and we have to add the refractive index correction. So in that case, instead of molar absorptivity epsilon, we use this modified value epsilon into n upon n square plus 2 whole square. And this n is a refractive index of that particular medium. So by this way, we can correct the error produced due to the refractive index in our calculations. So two things to keep in mind is that one, the concentration should be below 0.01 molar. So the solution must be very dilute. And number two, the light that is incident upon the sample should or must be a monochromatic light. So it must not have a multiple wavelengths. So these are the two main like prerequisites to carry out the UV or visible study for obeying of Beer's law. Next is the apparent chemical deviations. So these chemical deviations mainly arises due to some chemical reaction in the solution, and such chemical reactions can be dissociation reactions in which analyte or the sample dissociate into simpler molecule, or association of analyte in which some species combine together to make a new species that like can have a different behavior. So one example like that reaction of analyte with the solvent can also be a reason, and because it can produce a different product that may have a different absorption spectrum other than the analyte. And this can be understood by the example of acid-base indicators. As we know that acid-base indicator general reaction, dissociation reaction of acid-base indicator is shown in this way, like HIN is equal to H plus and IN minus. So this is the undissociated form of indicator, and this is the ionized form of a indicator. So we know that this unionized form and ionized form are actually responsible for different colors of the indicators. So when we carry out this study in unbuffered solution, so it has been seen that at 430 nanometer, the absorption of like radiation is mainly due to this IN minus, that is the ionized form. Whereas at different wavelength of 570 nanometer, the absorption is due to the unionized form of an indicator. So in this case, like you can see that instead of getting a straight line, we are getting either the upside deviation, or we are getting a lower curvature. The upper curvature is considered as a positive deviation to the Beer's law, and the lower downward curvature indicates the negative deviation. So this negative deviation is mainly observed at 570 nanometer due to the absorption by HIN, whereas the positive deviation is mainly indicated by this ionized form. So because at different wavelength, different species are actually involved in the absorption. So the point is that the linearity between the like absorption and the concentration cannot be observed. So this mainly leads to the deviation either on the positive side or on the negative side. That depends actually on what wavelength, at what wavelength you are studying. So this is just one example to quote. Next is the instrumental deviations. Now these are the deviations which are generally arises due to some error or some fault in your instrument or improper calibration also. Like for example, number one is the instrumental deviation due to polychromatic radiation. So as we discussed earlier that for obeying of Beer's law and to carry out the UV or visible study, we need a monochromatic light that should have a single wavelength light. But when we have a more than one light, that light is considered as a polychromatic light. So now consider a beam of light that is having a two wavelengths, lambda dash and lambda dash dash. So for first wavelength, that is lambda dash, Beer's law equation can be written as a absorbance dash is equal to the absorptivity prime into B into C. So this can also be written in different manner, and finally upon solving you can get a new equation like P dash is equals to P naught dash 10 to the power EBC. Now for second equation, or for second wavelength equation can be written in this manner. So when both light are passing through the sample, so the absorbance value that your instrument is actually giving you is the combination of the absorption by the both wavelengths. So therefore, the overall absorbance or combined absorbance due to these both wavelengths can be written as a absorbance AM is equal to log P naught dash upon plus P naught double dash divided by P dash plus P double dash. So means when you are carrying out a study at more than one like wavelength, so if you are not applying this such correction, you are definitely going to get a error in your results, because you must be thinking that the absorption is due to any one of the wavelength, but actually both wavelengths are responsible for absorption. So this can be corrected by this modification. So finally, by replacing this P dash from here and P double dash from here, we can modify the equation like in this manner. We have just changed the denominator, and now in this case, one thing to to correlate is that when the molar absorptivity of both wavelengths are same of lambda dash and lambda double dash, so these in that case this whole expression will become a common, and the Beer's law will be followed, because for first wavelength Beer's law equation is this, for second wavelength Beer's law equation is this. So the B and C both are the constant terms, so only difference is the molar absorptivities. So if these two are same, so there are no issue, but if these two are different for different wavelengths, then there are chances to get a error. So this is generally represented in this picture also of a plot between absorbance and the concentration. So when molar absorptivity 1 and molar absorptivity 2, if both are same or equal, the linear relationship is generally observed like this. In the second case, molar absorptivity 1 value is higher and molar absorptivity 2 value is lesser, like 1500 and 500. In this case, the difference between two molar absorptivity arises, and that causes the deviation to the linearity. And when this difference also increases increases much more, like 750 1750 to 250, so deviation will also increase. So when both molar absorptivity due to the different wavelengths are same, then linear. As the variation, as the difference between absorptivity is increasing, the deviation is also increasing. Now second instrumental deviation is the deviation due to the stray radiation. Now stray radiations generally are coming from the monochromator that is mainly contaminated with small amount of scattered light or the stray light. So the stray light is that radiation from the instrument that is outside the nominal wavelength band that is chosen for the study. So any light that is outside the desired wavelength light is considered as a stray light. And these mainly are observed due to the scattering, reflections, due to gratings, lenses or mirrors. The stray radiation wavelength generally differ from the main or principal radiation that is being incident upon the sample, and there are also chances that it may not have passed through the sample. So when stray radiations are present, so necessary correction can be done to avoid or to carry out the to rectify the result and to modify the calculation by including this absorbance value that mainly indicates log P naught upon PS upon P plus PS, where PS is the power of the stray radiation. So we have to add the power of stray radiation to the incident light as well as to the transmitted light, so that its correction or its correction factor can be included in the calculations. And in this case, we can also see the correlation of absorbance and the concentration and its effect on the stray light. So when there is a 0% stray light, the power of stray light, that you can say the linearity is observed. But as the percentage of stray radiation is increasing, the linearity deviation are also increasing. So like at 0.2%, it is little bit like higher. At 1%, even deviation also increases little bit more. And at 5%, even more deviations are generally observed. And finally, the third type of deviation can also be observed due to the mismatched cells. Now, mismatched cells means the sample cell in which you are placing a sample, and another sample cell in which you are placing a blank. If they are of different material or different like size, then this may cause a deviation in the linearity and the results. So this is mainly observed due to the mismatch between the analyte and the blank sample cells. So as we discussed earlier, that it is mainly due to the unequal path lengths and the different optical properties. And this can be corrected by introducing the linear regression modification, use of a single beam instrument, or addition of intercept in the Beer's law equation, that is A is equals to E epsilon B C plus K. So this K intercept is being added to introduce the correction in the calculation due to the mismatched cells. Thank you.